So, good day. The experiment that was assigned to us is about the Bobo experiment. So, during the 1960s, Bandura conducted a series of experiments about observational learning. This study aims to investigate if social behaviors like aggression can be acquired by observation and imitation. Researchers tested 36 boys and 36 girls from the Stanford University Nursery School aged between 3 to 6 years old. A lab experiment was used and the type of model was manipulated in three conditions. The first one is aggressive model is shown to 24 children. The second one is a non-aggressive model shown to 24 children. And lastly, no model is shown to 24 children as well. So the participants undergo three stages. The first one is modeling, the second one is aggression arousal, and number three, they also test for delayed imitation. Based on the results, those children who's exposed to the aggressive model are more likely to show imitative aggressive behavior themselves. The second one is boys were nearly three times more likely to replicate physically violent behavior than girls. And lastly, those exposed to non aggressive or no model at all showed little aggressive behavior. So, this experiment demonstrated that children are able to learn social behaviors through the process of observational learning or through watching the behaviors of others.
The model pummeled the doll with the mallet, flung it in the air, kicked it repeatedly, threw it down, and beat it. It was once widely believed that seeing others vent aggression would drain the viewer's aggressive drive. As you can see, exposure to aggressive modeling is hardly cathartic. Exposure to aggressive modeling increased attraction to guns, even though it was never modeled. Guns had less appeal to children who had no exposure to the aggressive modeling. The children also picked up the novel hostile language.
So, the following are the ethical issues we can identify from the experiment. First is the lack of informed consent. Second, the manipulation of behavior. Children learn to imitate aggressive and violent behaviors and might possibly adapt it and can influence their behaviors in real life. Third is potential harm to children. It could potentially harm their psychological well being. Witnessing aggressive behaviors at such a young age could cause emotional distress and could harm them emotionally. This might have a negative impact on their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It could also cause behavioral issues in the children as they grow up. Last is protection of the children. During the experiment, the subjects could possibly be harmed because of the toys such as mallets, guns, and other toys. The children's faces were exposed and can be found on different social media platforms, thus, it violates the subject's confidentiality. If we were to do this experiment, the things that we would do differently is first to adjust the subject's age to at least 10 to 13 years old. Compared sa actual experiment ni Albert Bandura, ang age niya participants is 3 to 6 years, which is too young para expose sa sugad nga situation, right? So 10 to 13 years is better than 3 to 6 years since mas nakakaintindi na hirahan situations. Sama mas madali i-explain haira all about the experiment. We would properly give consent letters to the participants or assent as well as to their parents. We would also inform the children that they could back out anytime if they want to. For the participants, are not and should not be forced to participate. 'Di ba, kay Kanbandura experiment, the consent given was only taken from the teachers and not from their parents or legal guardians. We would probably debrief the children after the study, explaining that the behaviors they observed were inappropriate responses to aggression and were mainly done for the study. We would also explain to the children that those aggressive acts are not an appropriate response to the doll. Children must understand that they should not just observe what people do. They must also understand the circumstances of their actions, especially the wrong behavior they have done on the experiment. And most importantly, the videos would solely be for the reviews and we won't post the actual videos on social media. Or if we would post, we'd ask for consent and assent and would blur the faces for the participants. So how would we address the ethical issues related to the experiment? First, the experimenters should give the participants asset letters to the participants' parents' consent letters and explain to the purpose of this study as well as the procedures of the study to the parents para maaraman parents what their child's getting into. Asset letter and consent letter, it should be stated that the child can withdraw anytime. Unlike ha actual experiment ni Bandura wherein may da talaga nakaguard ha door para dire gumawas ang mga participants or ang mga bata. And right after the experiment was conducted, they should debrief or explain to the participants the purpose of the study and to clarify to the kids that the behaviors they observed are not appropriate response to aggression, and to state some ways they could express their aggression in a healthy way. Instead, we can tell them to verbalize their anger like using their own words to share how they really feel. We can also teach them the breathing exercises because somehow it helps them to calm down. Tapos kung kalmado na hira, tell them to share their thoughts and feelings because at times when they express themselves and when someone is there ready to listen for them, there is someone who's there to validate what they feel, someone who cares. The researchers should offer counseling to the participants. The researchers should also not offer or expose participants to any kind of toys or objects that may harm them in real life at a very young age. Or if needed, proper guidance and instructions should be presented before conducting the experiment.